Hello, I went 5-3 in my first sealed Kaldheim, and the event was fun. I'm mm, a little hungry for more wins, so I thought maybe I could reach 6 or 7 wins with that deck. 5-3 is pretty nice, so I'm only only a little disappointed maybe, but mostly I just want to play uh, at least one more sealed. So let's see what can I build here. What will I open as my 6 rare cards? This is great. This should be very good. This is also very nice. Maybe the creature mode is better, but also even this artifact is annoying for opponents. But the creature mode is just brutal, so it's very cool. So maybe that here the power level depends on what can you get with the last ability. Some artifacts or dragons maybe, but I think for most parties it depends on how many dwarfs you have in your deck, because boost to all the dwarfs on a playable 2-drop that also creates some treasure tokens is very nice, so you don't even have to get to 5 or more treasures and find anything. It's just very good. So this is also nice, but more dependent on what other cards you have. And this is just a good removal. Maybe it's not a very exciting rare, but still a very good card that you should always play if you're in red. Some bonus mana is nice if you get some snow lands, but I wouldn't get out of my way to add snow lands just for this effect. It's still a playable removal. This isn't that great, I suppose, since probably you won't have that many snowlands in sealed. Maybe in draft you can get there if you're casting it for uh, 7 or less mana reliably. If your deck is built in a way that you won't pay more than 7 mana for it, this becomes very appealing, I suppose. But in sealed you probably won't get there unless you build some weird 5-color deck, and that might not be worth it. So maybe if you want to play a 5-color deck anyway and play a lot of snowlands, you can add it. So probably all the snowlands you open in your sealed pool. So at least 6, but you can get some more. It's not a reason to go into blue. So I had it in my first pool and decided that it's not worth it. So blue was my splash color, but that wasn't the main reason. Just wasn't worth it because I didn't play that many snow lands to make it cheap enough, and the effect isn't that powerful to get out of your way for it. it's quite good that, their stuff doesn't untap, but maybe they didn't tap it and you have to wait for a good opportunity, or you just play a glorified vanilla creature with an ability to return it to your hand, but 3 snow lands returning is still a huge cost. And this is just a bomb. It's just unbelievably good. So that could be a reason to play Simic or some multicolor combination. But supporting this mana cost, I think I will at least try to play it. But very appealing card are this, and this, and I got 2 red rares that are good. So I don't know, maybe band and just ditch red here, or maybe ditch white and play Temur or 4 colors. But that's just the impression after seeing the rares. We have to see what else is here. So this can be good with some buffs, because by itself it's a little underwhelming. This is a very good 1-drop, a very nice creature. I would be happy to play it, but probably in some aggressive deck. If my deck isn't aggressive, this might still be worth including, but it loses some appeal. This is a good 2-drop, decent at least. I wouldn't look to play this. So crew 6 is a lot, so I'm not tempted here. This is good. So runes are all of them are good, I suppose. Maybe this is the worst of them, but still good. This is very nice. Also asks for an aggressive deck. This is worse in aggressive decks, but still playable and good. This is just great. This is decent. This is decent. This is dependent on your on the likelihood of getting something back from your graveyard. If that happens, it's very nice. But if it's unlikely or even impossible, then you probably shouldn't play it. It's a dwarf if I go into this Boros deck with Magda. This is a dwarf, and this is more like a filler and probably better in defensive or some more expensive decks, not aggro. So white is overall mostly aggressive and has some non-aggressive cards like this, or this is still a good removal option, but pushes or prefers more defensive deck. Okay, so that's white. Not very tempting overall. So only this creature is very tempting. This is good. Having a removal is fine, and there are some good creatures. This is also good, but overall it doesn't look great, and it's quite short, I suppose. If you want to be this aggressive white deck, there are 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards I would be happy to play, and this could be also. So maybe 11 with this and this. I don't see it for now. So still not that great. So this is probably better in a tempo deck. Then you put the pressure and want to play cheap removal spells or pseudo removals, and you can take a hit. It's worse when you feel your life total is pressured. It's very bad when you play it on a creature that's already tapped and still lose some life. So comparing it to Bubble Snare, then when you had a kicker mode that tapped the creature, but on a tapped creature it was only 1 mana and you didn't take a hit. So after you take a hit and play it again, you really feel punished. So it's a weird card. It's better in decks that are aggressive or tempo oriented. This is playable enough, I think. So it's like a Zolaport Duelist in Zendikar Rising. So it doesn't mill, but here it's not that important. So this version has better stats, but doesn't mill. So this really depends on the number of your potential targets, but if you can draw 1 card out of it, it's cool. So I might include it. This is more like a filler, but I think playable enough. This is nice if you support it with no mana. You get quite cheap loot in effect, and that's good. So I suppose it's playable enough. A flying creature is still annoying, but it's only 1/1, and the blue has some options to just outclass 1/1 flyers in the air. So combined with white, I have this Pegasus, 2 copies of this, the Angel, and in blue I have Hawk and that rare Charger, and this, as I see. So I think the drawback isn't that bad, and you still get good removal, quite cheap removal. So drawback is real, but not that bad. This is nice. This is one of the more interesting counter spells lately. It's quite powerful. This is a very good common. This is just great. So here also it depends on snow mana, because tapping, just tapping, and when their creature still untaps, it's not that great. Not that bad as well, so it's still a nice filler. But if you have snow mana, it can be just good. This is good enough, I suppose. It's quite expensive, but it should still be a tempo swing on your favor, even if you're paying 6 mana for this. So, and instant speed is also nice here. This is more like a filler, and this I discussed it earlier, so it's not looking that great. But overall, blue looks quite nice, but it really depends on snow mana. So combined with white, we have snow-covered plains, but no snow-covered island, and blue asks for snow mana, so it's not a great combination so far. I don't like such cards very much. It's still a decent filler if you need it, but I'm not looking to play it. This seems cool if you support it. If you can even reliably have 2 lands by, I don't know, turn 5 or 6, or at least when you get to 5 or 6 lands. If you have 2 snow lands, it can be pretty good. So cheap, good blocker early, and then exchange it just for the most annoying of small creatures your opponent controls. That's quite good. So this is quite nice overall. It's not great, but I think it's quite nice. But when you can enable it as well, because just playing at 3 mana 3/2 isn't great. This is good. This can grow to a real threat, and getting flying from time to time is also pretty nice. This is weird, but playable overall. I suppose this is playable. I don't like such cards at common, but so Ill-Gotten Inheritance made Ravnica Allegiance pretty frustrating to play from time to time. At least this doesn't have this huge swing for when you sacrifice it for 6 mana, but drains. The upside is that it drains on the turn you play it, because it's not the beginning of upkeep but your end step. So this is playable probably, but I don't like that it's playable because it's just an annoying non-interactive card. I like this black shrine in M21 because it was legendary and you just couldn't play too many copies. So when a player plays one such card, it's not bad for the gameplay. But if the strategy of playing 2 or 3 copies is good enough, the format becomes annoying, at least in my opinion. This is good. I like it. So this black is looking good enough so far. Maybe nothing very tempting here, and I suppose I won't play it because I didn't get a rare card, and nothing is that tempting. I even didn't get good removal in black, as I see now. So this is maybe this and this are the most appealing cards now. Maybe this, but that depends on the number of snowlands I would play in my deck if I played some deck with black. So another snow mana payoff. 2/2 isn't great for 4 mana. So a 2/2 flying trample would be wouldn't matter very much if you don't boost it somehow with its own ability or with some equipment or aura. So overall it's not very exciting unless you can pay this snow mana activated ability. This isn't bad, but also doesn't push me into black. This is quite good, especially in aggressive decks, but quite good. This isn't bad, I suppose, but it really depends on what you got to reanimate, and this I could see a defensive black deck with this and this as kill conditions. I don't like this style, but it's possible with these cards. But I look for some other options. So I got Snow-Covered Mountain and 1 copy. This is I think a good 2-drop, 1-drop in an aggressive deck. This is very nice. This is nice. So Short Sword was playable at least in some decks, and this is strictly better if you can afford this red mana cost. So this is the only downside, that you have to pay red mana, not generic mana for this spell. And then equip is the same, and it's just better. This is good. So I think maybe Boros, Dwarf Boros, could be real with this set of cards. I have another Dwarf that is really good in aggressive decks. This is also good. So another Dwarf, and creates more Dwarfs for Magda. Magda is cool. This could be good enough in an aggressive deck. I don't really love this card, but it's playable. So I don't think so. So if I don't get more tribal synergies with dwarves, I wouldn't like to play this card just for Magda. And this isn't looking good in what my red is trying to do. So I don't think so. I won't play sweeper on my with my small creatures. This is certainly good enough to make it if I'll play red, and there's at least some incentive to play red. This is good in an aggressive deck, and having some options if you run out of cards to get a pseudo draw effect. This is good enough, probably as a curve topper in an aggressive deck. This is also nice with Magda, and overall probably good enough. So I don't think so here. And this is also good enough as a curve topper. So Boros could be real here. It's not looking bad. So let's check green. Snow-covered forest. I don't like this. So this is a decent filler if you lack 2 drops, but if I had creature 2 drops, I would prefer to play creatures probably. Not in best of 1, I don't think so. This is good. Maybe not for every deck, but out of snow mana synergies in this set, and some ramp in some archetypes at least. So this is appealing at least in some decks. This isn't great. I wouldn't like to play it if I didn't have to. Another snow mana payoff, probably good enough if you have enough snow mana sources. And this is not very exciting, but probably playable enough. So here we have this land for Azorius, so I had the option to put some Azorius Flyers deck, fixing for Dimir, but black wasn't very appealing. Another payoff for getting into Dimir, reanimate card, but blue wasn't that great, and black lacked removal and was probably more into a controlling archetype, so Dimir might be a good combination for what black was looking to do. My black cards, not black overall in this set, but it's not very exciting to try to get there. So I think Boros will be better overall, even if we get some good signpost uncommon. And this is real, but green is so short here, not great. So I have some. This is very good. So destroy target non-land permanents. It could just end with this. The second and the third chapter could be a blank, and this would be very good anyway. So the other chapters are just cherry on the top and not bad. Forest onto the battlefield tapped, so even these duals can get there. That's also great. And Death Touch, this is maybe the worst effect, because in the first two chapters they just net you a card each, and this third you got to put some work to gain some value, but it is also possible. So it's a great saga. So some payoffs for going into Golgari, but green is short, black is unexciting. So overall, I probably will have to ditch this appealing cards. So another fixing, and we have another Boros payoff for going into Boros, and even this is very good because I have one rune, this white rune, so this in Boros, very nice. Fixing, I don't think if I get into Boros, I don't think I want to splash green for this effect. So another Snowland, bonus Snowland, because I have 1, 2, 3 snow duals and probably 3 basic lands, snow basic lands if that's the case, because every booster should contain one snow covered basic land or one of these duals, snow duals. So yeah, that checks out. So this is so great, but I'm not sure if I want to get into Simic just for this. So green is so unappealing in my pool overall. So it really doesn't look good. So I could be a 5-color good stuff deck and play this Glittering Frost and every good card I have in my pool, and then I could play this Saga, which is great, and this would depend on what could it find. Not too many elves, I suppose. So black has some elves, but they aren't very good. In 5-color good stuff deck they shouldn't find a place. So warriors. And I don't really want to count my warriors because it's still not appealing. So okay, let's try to build this Boros version. So this, maybe even this. So this splash of green, this is at least a little appealing. I have 2 duals in my color, in one of my main colors, and with green as the second color, but nothing else would be splashable from green. That's not great to play Taplands in Boros for 1 card, even if it would really fit this Boros deck. It really looks nice. I can at least think about this option, but it's not very good. So what else? Let's try this for now. And I don't have any snow synergies, I suppose, so if my opponent has this God of the Worthy, then some of my lands could enter the battlefield tapped. It's not a good idea to play snow lands if you don't get any value out of them, just to look cool or something. So I'm gonna check that out at the in the end, but I don't think I have good payoffs for. Or any payoffs for playing these lands in Boros. So this is one option. I could play Boros, some dwarf synergies, and quite a lot of dwarfs. 7, not great, but 7, and 2 sorcery spells creating more dwarfs, and also this creates more dwarfs. Still, it could be a sub theme. This tribal synergy, and I can just look how it just consider how it looks overall. It's not looking bad. Not sure, still not sure if I would like to play Raven Wings. But these last cards I could think about them. So this is a snow payoff, but it's not exciting enough, so maybe it's enough to play my 2 snow lands, because it's not very likely that my opponent will play this God of the Worthy, and there might be times when 1 or 2 bonus mana from this sorcery is good enough. So that's one possibility. Before I get to cutting the last cards, I suppose 17 lands are too many. So probably 16, 15, 15 is too little. On the other hand, probably, because there are some mana sinks, boost, and equip costs and such. So I think 16 is about right. So 4 cards to cut, but before I start looking into it and cutting, maybe let's consider more options, because blue is also appealing with this charger, this raven. And probably it would be an Azorius deck then, because my best red cards want me to just attack and have some dwarf synergies, and so they just combine better with white, and blue combines better with white as well, not with red. So I would get this. And so I'm not sure if this Boros version isn't too weak. These raptors really need some. I could cut 1 or 2 of them, so they might be candidates for cutting, but they really need some pump. So I got some equipments. This isn't the greatest equipment to grant to them, because equipping for 2 mana just to add +1/+0, because they have flying already, isn't very good. So 3 artifacts, equipments, 1 enchantment rune. So this is also looking mediocre. It can have some targets, but can miss quite often. I'm not sure about the power level of this Boros. It could be good enough to deal some early damage and win in the end, but it's not great. So this is more of what Boros likes to do. Just play very cheap creatures and attack early. So splashing green isn't great, and splashing green only for 1 card that really fits, but it's only 1 card, so playing 2 tap lands and maybe 1 forest. So probably this one. So this destroys mana base significantly for a cheap deck like this, and I have 1 card which will be great when I draw it, and get to 5 mana, but it's still not that exciting. Okay, I think I'm gonna check this Azorius version now. So let's suppose everything stays, but here I don't have that many incentives to play equipments, especially this. So maybe I should cut it. This is still quite good because it searches for my rune. So it can be quite unappealing if I throw rune first, but maybe then this looting effect is will be good enough. So this version wants snow mana for sure, but lacks it mostly, so I would have to play. So this is a lot, but still quite weird to play in a 2-color deck. To play a Tapland just because it's snow, so 3 copies are a lot, but I could get to play off colors, ice, snow lands, so it's not very appealing. And I included almost everything worth considering, so this isn't good in this version. Still not a lot of snow lands. So I could consider this as well, and about 3 cards to cut. So we can also see how does it look. So probably these raptors aren't great here because I lost some boosts that were in red. Some fillers are here as well. So this looks like more like a control and flyers deck. This probably doesn't make sense here. 2 auras and 1 artifact. It's worse than in Boros. It doesn't get a boost from Magda. And this is some reason to run Azorius. This is pretty good, this land. Not great overall, so I think the other things worth considering is splashing green and even double green, but for a bomb card, one of the best cards in the set probably. So this would support snow mana better. I think I would play even 3 copies of this card in this version, or I could even splash black as well. Maybe not this, double black here isn't great, but this and this could get there. And I don't think red is appealing enough, so other green cards, maybe this, since I have so many snow plants and fixing, but this doesn't look good because green is still not my base, and it just can't be my base, I suppose, with all this. This could be there. And this isn't very splashable. It's still neat when you get to snow lands, and I have 5, 6, quite a lot, but I wouldn't play off-color top land. And off-color basic. So it's quite good when you get to 2, but not very splashable overall, I think so. So how about this version? Nothing in red is splashable. So red is just good at early aggression, and this is good, but double red it doesn't make it splashable. This is maybe the most splashable card, but still, I don't think so. And black, would I like to add something from black, something else. So this is pretty similar to this troll. Maybe better overall, because the 4/4 flyer it can be really game winning. And, that troll could be just jump blocked many times, even with indestructible, and they don't want to block it with a real creature that will just lose combat. Still, jump blocks could be real. This, but probably this is the only reason to consider it. So some fillers are here, but not too many great targets for reanimation, and still a splash. So you need to get more out of your splash cards. So you should be more demanding when you consider splashes. So just good cards in their colors aren't appealing probably. So this could get into this version with a lot of snowlands. So maybe another good target for reanimation. So maybe I should consider it after all. And still not very appealing. So these also aren't great splashes. So I could add some removal this way, but still I would need to untap with them and get a decent number of snowlands, which is very possible in this deck, but still I could miss from time to time, so it takes a lot of work to turn into a removal that's not even a hard removal, so it's not a very splashable card. So some of this snow mana payoffs, but I think this is the best, and still I'm not looking to play it, probably. So okay, that would be this version of Azorius splashing 3 green cards, and one of them being a Golgari card, so also one black card. And I'm playing a lot of top lands, unfortunately, so to make this possible. But also being able to play this for that reason, and enabling some better snow cards in my main colors like this. And so still 7 lands may make it quite demanding. 7 snow lands. So if I draw almost a half of my deck, I'm still having about 3 or 4 such lands, so it's still a card for at least 8 mana. That's not great. So looting makes it a little more appealing, because I could play it when it's good and maybe ditch it when it doesn't, but I have only 1 looting effect, so it's still not great overall. But I think mostly I quite like this idea. So a lot of top lands, that's not great, but I think it can be good enough overall. This won't be great in my deck, but I think I still need some removal, so I have to swallow the cost here. And restarting this Golgari saga is neat. It's still an overcosted creature if I miss, but this is more appealing in this deck. So probably these Raptors don't make much sense. Usher is still good. This might be good enough. So I have some early plays, and this helps me survive. This, I think I have to count, but quite a lot of snow permanents in my deck, so this can draw some cards. So I'm not counting itself, but 1, 2, 3 if I leave it, and 7 lands, so 10, 1/4. It's still nice. I can just use my spare mana from time to time, and if it draws 1 card, it's good enough. So this should be nice. This could be cut, could be left. We will see about it. So how many foretell cards do I have? I'm afraid that can. If I check it, I can just. So this is 1. I can be quite unhappy with my deck if I check it. So this is 2, 3, 4. This is 5, but it's I count it more as a payoff for foretelling other cards. So 6-7 if I leave these guardians, and then they might make sense in this version of the deck. So I don't have other looting effects besides this Hawk. So it really doesn't look great for this Kraken. So costly. I don't want to spend 8 or 9 mana for my spell, and I could get lucky from time to time, cast it on turn 6, even maybe, if I draw all my snow lands, or 6 mana, but on turn 7 or 8. For 7 mana it's still not bad, but I would have to get 5 of 7 snow lands, so it's not realistic enough. So I think this Kraken should go. And what else? 19 creatures, 8 non-creatures. So now it got a little worse. I still have 9 out of 40 cards. I'm not counting itself, so 9 out of 39 cards, I suppose. Still almost a quarter of my cards. And I have some scry effects I could, or some other combo with this, so I could just be sure that I draw a card from time to time. Not really. So this if I put my own creature on top, but that doesn't make much sense unless I want to save 2 of my creatures from removal and I have 7 mana, then I can put 1 into my hand, 1 on the top of the library, and then draw that one. So it's so unlikely, but it could be some option to cheat with this ability. Still not good. Okay, I think this could be cut because pumping mana and drawing a card after force activation isn't that great, and you still only get your card back because 1 mana 1/2 isn't worth a card by itself. But for now I can leave it and count it as a candidate for cutting. This is also a candidate for cutting because I'm not playing some tempo deck. It helps me survive, but it's not that great anyway. So it's a similar problem than that 1 mana 1/2 isn't worth a card, so some possibility to ambush something and you get your card back. And here it just takes some time to get your card back. So this doesn't have a good number of targets. So it can ramp me from time to time, but I don't have a lot of spells and a lot of portal cards. I have 2, 3, 4 2 mana creatures, so I think it will stay anyway and will get me some value from time to time. This is good enough, even though it's more at home in aggressive decks. It's still a 2/3 blocker that can help me finish off my opponent when I get the initiative. This should probably stay in this deck. This I'm not sure, so 1 rune, but it's so expensive as an equipment. If I combine it with this rune and give +1/+1 life, I think it might be nice. And it searches for it, and when I play this rune, I'm getting back my cards. So this is so good for the most part, but getting my rune first and then drawing it is pretty unexciting, I have to say. So this also brings it back from graveyard, so maybe that's nice. I think I will keep it probably. This is good. This is a candidate for cutting. This is good enough. I have a lot of creatures, even if I cut some, so this is good enough. These are mediocre and quite expensive, so I'm not sure if foretelling is so important to me, even if I have some foretell payoffs or enablers, maybe more enablers, not payoffs, but they help here. I think I can cut at least one, and I should play 17 lands in this deck. So what were my candidates? I think this is worse than this overall. I will cut this one because it won't draw too many cards. This still is a candidate for cutting, but now that I cut one drop, this might stay. But what would I prefer to cut to make this one stay? This is the candidate, and this. So 2 cards out of 3 candidates. So maybe what do I want to keep most? So 1 artifact, 3 enchantments. Not a lot of targets for this dwarf. So I think this will go. Not really happy with this pull. This Boros and even Boros with a splash of 1 green card. They still look quite appealing. This deck can be clunky. It plays a huge bomb, and this White Angel is good, and it has some early games, but so many taplands that my early game can still be quite bad. So 6 taplands out of 11 lands. Okay, let's try it. So about an equal distribution of white and blue mana, I have double blue here and double white with a little cheaper spell. And double blue with... So here is some white mana sink. Here we have double blue with the cheapest spell that has some double color, but also foretell is only for 1 blue. And here is white mana sink. So overall pretty equal distribution. So I think I'm gonna stay with about equal distribution of white and blue mana sources. So I think these 3 and this are enough for black. I have only 1 black card, and I can call black with one of these cards, probably will. So swamp will go. Green, on the other hand, needs a little more for double green here and has 3 cards overall, so could go green with 1 or 2 of these. I think it would be best to keep all of these green sources. So 1 forest, 1 snow-covered forest, and this as a backup. But if I have some problems with my main colors, I can cut 1 forest probably. So 4 white mana sources, 5, 6, and blue 4, 5 only, not great. So I think 6 as well could be good, and this as a backup. So green isn't very well supported in this case. Okay, I have one. I missed it, but I have one. One more room, so maybe 6 white and 6 blue, and these 3 as a backup for also my main colors. And 3 green and some backup here. Okay, so the mana base is the biggest problem here, because this deck looks quite well overall. If the mana base wasn't a problem, I think still this is a good splash. It's so good that I could even consider cutting something else and bringing back this scout, because getting this saga back is great. But how many times would it happen? It doesn't have good targets overall. I think this aura will stay most of the time on the battlefield. Rune can enchant an artifact, and artifacts equipments also tend to stay most of the time. So then from 4 artifact plus enchantments overall in my deck, only 1 is more likely to be in the graveyard. So Hawk is some interaction, but it's also only 1 card that supports it, and still I would have to have this in hand to be happy with discarding one of my removal spell, for example, this bind the monster, or a rune that draws me a card and leaves some value, or so this Hawk doesn't help that much. So this Master Scout shouldn't probably get to my deck. This might be missed a little. Maybe it could be good enough, and I'm not sure if this Guardian is that great. I mean, maybe not, I'm sure that it's not great, but maybe could be good enough for my deck, and maybe could be what my deck needs, some defensive roadblock that can get there on turn 4, and I could wait for my Coma, which should take over the game if it creates at least one token and then gets indestructible. There is this Exile black common removal, but still it should take over most of the games where I cast it. So getting defensive, having some backup option to hit with flyers, and having come as a great finisher is some plan. The mana base is the worst here. Okay, let's try this weird deck. It took me a very long time to build it, but I really like to take my time with sealed pools and consider a lot of options on Arena. You can do it on some tabletop paper events. You don't have this luxury, so I would maybe build a suboptimal deck, but would hurry to just finish it and on time. So here I just like to use my my time and just submit something I'm happy enough with. So thanks for watching. I hope it was interesting enough, even if it was a very long video. So if you watched it, I think you will be interested of how this deck plays out. So check out the link in the description to the whole playlist of this event. And be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I hope I'll see you in my first game.